Midas Man sounded like a really interesting film. I'm quite a fan of biographical films. I think they can be really educational, really fascinating. And this one focuses on Brian Epstein, who managed the Beatles. So I thought, okay, I like the Beatles. Let's see what this is like. The film was released in 2024. It's directed by Joe Stevenson. It's written by Bridget Grant and Jonathan Wakeham. And we have a cast including Jacob Fortune-Lloyd as Brian Epstein. We also have Blake Richardson, Jonah Lees, Leo Harvey-Elledge and Campbell Wallace as Paul, John, George and Ringo. And the performances are very good. I'm not the most knowledgeable about the Beatles. I love the Beatles music, but I wouldn't consider myself to be a big Beatles fan. But the performances there were quite good. And from my perspective, I thought they were pretty good. I know nothing or knew nothing about Brian Epstein, so I can't comment on whether the character is true to the real individual, but certainly the performance was quite good. The film itself is definitely interesting. It's about how Epstein finds the Beatles and, well, what happens after that. However, and this is maybe not a fair thing to say, but I expected more from the music. I thought, okay, it's a film about the manager of the Beatles. Can we have some really good Beatles music? And we didn't really get a lot of music in this. And I was a little bit disappointed by that. But at the same time, it's about the Beatles manager, not the Beatles themselves. So I can kind of understand that. So in general, it was an interesting experience. It wasn't quite as good as I hoped, but it was still fascinating. And I did learn quite a bit. I took everything with a pinch of salt, but I've not heard anything that suggests it's not factually accurate. It has 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb across 1.7 thousand reviews and ratings, which is not too bad at all. Seems to be generally well received, which I assume means that it's generally pretty accurate. And it also is a bit of time travel. I did feel like we were transported back to the 60s, so that part of it I did like. It felt very atmospheric. That was really enjoyable. That's one of the reasons why I like biographical films, because usually they take us back in time, and certainly that worked very well here. So in general, it was an interesting experience. I learned a lot. I found it to be fascinating. The time travel aspect I liked because I did feel like I was watching something from the 60s. The music wasn't completely what I'd hoped for, but it was still good. And in general, I'd say it's a decent film. If you're a big Beatles fan, you may think differently. You may enjoy it a lot more than I did. You may not like it at all. I'd be very keen to know what you think. But from my perspective, as somebody who likes the Beatles music, but who doesn't know a tremendous amount about the backstory or the history, I found it to be an interesting experience. So, needless to say, I'd say The Midas Man is worth watching. I'd love to know what you think of it. For me, as a one-time watch, it was not a bad experience.